Hello viewers, and welcome to another short video with no editing and no real tech whatsoever. Today I'm going to talk about the eco-worthy 120 watt solar charger folding solar panel and my experience with it. I'm making this video because I've had several emails to answer questions for other consumers after I've made the purchase. A little housekeeping. This was not sent to me. I ordered it online and paid for it myself. I don't have any associations or affiliations with the company. I'm just merely a consumer that purchased a product and is making a video. So this is a 120 watt folding solar charge controller, and let's have a look at what we get. The back of it comes with a zippered pouch, large enough to hold everything that comes inside. We'll open this up and have a look at what I got. So, the first thing, we have this charge controller. This is a Pwm Charge Controller. And for those of you who haven't fully researched, there's PWM and there's MPPT. The difference between the two, this PWM will receive a voltage typically between 15 and 20 volts and maybe 1 or 2 amps. And it will push the 1 or 2 amps into your 12 volt battery at up to about 14.8 volts total. But it only pushes the amps. The extra voltage beyond that 14.8 will be dissipated into heat. An MPPT charge controller will take your higher voltage and convert it into amperage and not waste it. So if you're getting the same 20 volts at 2 amps, you may see on your battery something a little closer to 13.8 volts at 2.5 or 3 amps. So you'll get a little more juice. That's not to knock this charge controller at all. I think this one is just fine, even though I haven't really used it. I use the MPPT. However, this charge controller does have 2 USB ports, and you can connect the solar panel straight to the charge controller and use the USB ports to charge all of your little handheld trinkets like this phone. And you don't require a battery at all for that. So if all you want to do is charge phone batteries, camera batteries, and other 5 volt accessories, it's plug and play. That's all you need. It also comes with a bunch of these different barrel connectors, and a little later on in the video I'm going to use a few of them to show you what else this panel can do. Here it has a nice lengthy power cord. I think it's a good length. Too much longer, you start to lose power. Too much shorter, and you can't get the panels in the sunlight when you're trying to be in the shade. It has a standard barrel connector that fits into the back of all of these. And the one down here on the very end happens to be USB-C. So you can put your USB-C straight onto this and plug it straight into your phone, and it will charge your phone. What I'll show you a little bit later is I will charge a handheld radio, and I will charge a 12 volt booster pack for my vehicle using nothing more than just the solar panel and these connectors here. So we'll move this aside. I can't tell you too much more about this. I've never actually powered it on. And let's open up the solar panel and look at how big it is. So here's the panel folded out. It's not angled exactly at the sun at this moment. I did see a video online about this solar panel, and in that video the person making the video was a little disgruntled, and they mentioned that their panel was only giving them a total of 60 watts, not 120. I looked at his video carefully and I replicated what he was doing. I determined that the reason he got 60 watts, and he wasn't wrong, he just didn't do things right. The reason he got 60 watts is all sun angle. In order to maximize the power out of this, you have to have it properly perpendicular to the sun in both angles. The maximum amount of power I've been able to get out of this particular panel, advertised at 120 watts, I've gotten about 105 watts out of it. And that was verified through my charge controller, which accurately tracks my voltage, amperage, wattage, and all of that. So 105 legitimate watts. I had to aim it directly at the sun. I had to prop it up a bit more so that I had a very good sun angle, but absolutely it can be done. For things like the trunk of your car emergency and stuff like that, this is a good idea. Right now I just have it sitting in the sun, and I'm charging a booster pack. I mean, how many times have you had to boost your vehicle? How many times has your booster pack been empty when you needed it? So this will allow me to charge the booster pack. About a week ago, I took a trip where I used a 12-volt cooler, and I used this booster pack to power the cooler. I used the solar panel to keep a charge in here. I've only had this plugged in for just a couple of minutes while I was setting everything up to get continuing with this short video, and it went from 2 red lights up to 3 already. I have no idea what its state of charge is, but I'm going to let it go today until the green light comes on. So we'll pause again, and I'm going to plug in another device, and we'll talk about that. So here I'm charging one of my handheld radios, and I'm using one of these supplied connectors straight into the radio, no charge controller or anything like that in between. And as far as emergency communications goes, this is going to charge you up during the day, and you should be pretty good to go. So this is to demonstrate that you don't have to have a battery and a charge controller in line, just the solar panel and a couple of other components, and you'll be pretty good for charging an awful lot of your lower voltage accessories. One of the questions I had is, can this charge a Blue Eddy? And yes, it will absolutely charge your EcoFlows, your Blue Eddies, and all of your other little power boxes that are available on the market. I use these, I have 2 of these solar panels, and I use them to keep this one charged. This is about the same power as a Blue Eddy, 512 watts. It has a 512 watt charge controller that can be ran a little hotter. I can actually run about 600 watts. So I can charge my batteries in this box from completely dead to completely full in about an hour and 5 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes without any problem, and still run the emergency communication gear connected to the box. So included, you're going to get this instruction manual that sort of explains how you can hook different things up, and it shows you here all the different generators and stuff it plugs into. But this is a pretty good solar panel. They're not too heavy, they're not too big and bulky, and I have not had a problem. It's quite rugged. I've had it out in the rain. I've actually had this for over a year, and I have had no problems with it yet. None of the stitching has come loose or really anything at all. I can't see any damage to it at all from all the times I've deployed it and all of the weird positions and situations I've put this panel through. The last thing I'll talk about before I wrap it up is it does have a manual to work the charge controller. One of the things you're going to have to read for yourself. I refuse to read. It's just, the way I am. So, yeah, you'll get the manual just telling you all the button pushes for the charge controller and all the different little stuff it does. I did install this charge controller in my pickup truck. I do have another system in there, and I've installed this into that system, but I actually have yet to put any real power through it. It just has not been needed for the purpose I put it in for. Other than that, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say on the eco-worthy 120 watt folding solar panels. Thank you very much for watching. Do feel free to give a thumbs up and leave a comment if you'd like. It drastically helps. Have yourself a great day.